Hello and welcome to Sports Week. I'm your host Dan Tracy, and once again joined by my strike partner Tolu, and we're back to Premier League action as Leeds play host to Arsenal. Now, Tolu, we all know that Arsenal are in a bit of a rut at the moment. 1 point from the last, 2 points from the last nine on offer. Big question is, can they get out of this rut at the weekend?
Oh, it's going to be difficult. I think they have picked the wrong time, a very wrong time to go to Leeds. Leeds absolutely banging form. They've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's probably one of the form strikers in the Premier League at the moment. Arsenal have shown, for some reason, all the defensive solidity that we talked about earlier in the season about Arsenal being solid at the back and all, they look like they've got goals in them. They look like they'll concede every time they play now. I think against United, even at 2-2, you felt like if United attacked that Arsenal team, they probably would score. It was a bit of a they were jittery a bit against United. And throughout the game, they didn't look comfortable at the back. I think that was the first time in a while since they conceded 3 goals in the Premier League. And it's been coming, to be honest, because they had been conceding in the build-up to that. Kairat in midweek in the Champions League. Yes, the Arsenal team was much changed, but they conceded 2 goals. And there were 2 goals that you probably look back and think it was as a result of sloppy defending. And that's not something they can afford to do at Leeds. Arteta has talked about enjoying the pressure that comes with a title race, and he felt like the fans were a little bit negative. That was the first time you probably saw the wheels come off a bit at the Emirates. They did not play the game at home. I think they played 5 straight away games in all competitions before they went back to the Emirates to play United. And at the final whistle, you could see the frustration on the face of Arteta, of his players. And for the first time this season, the fans actually booed the players off the pitch. The 4 points clear. And I think if you told those Arsenal fans at the start of the season that come the end of January, heading into February, you'd be 4 points clear of Manchester City at the top of the table, I think every one of them would have taken that. But I think there's just that feeling that the team isn't playing as well. You take out the set-piece goals that they've scored this year, and where would they really be without those set pieces? I agree that it's a part of the game, but I think the fact that they've got the amount of attacking options that they've got in the team, and they're struggling to create decent chances in the Premier League, is a real cause of worry. I feel like this is going to be a real banana skin for Arsenal. They're going to have to show the rest of the league in this fixture that they are truly contenders, because Leeds United are not a team that they'll show up to and expect to get the win.
Absolutely not. Elland Road is never an easy place to go to, especially if you haven't won in your last 3, and especially as Leeds have only lost one of their last 6 in the league, which is quite a transformation for the Elland Road outfit. A couple of months ago, everyone was probably thinking Daniel Farke's the next manager on the chopping block, but he's turned things around. You mentioned Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goals. He's fit, he's firing, that's important. But it's also the likes of Nemecha and Brendan Aronson. 31 goals as a team they've scored this season. It's a real collective battle for those players, but they seem to be doing it really well.
Yeah, and I don't think that Leeds have felt a buzz like they felt lately since the days of Marcelo Bielsa at the club. And like you said rightly, Daniel Farke was under intense pressure earlier in the season, and everyone thought of all the 3 promoted teams, Burnley weren't scoring goals, but they weren't conceding a lot of goals. Sunderland done really well very early on, and everyone looked and thought Leeds are the odd ones out. They're not scoring, they're conceding. It kind of looked all over the place earlier in the season, but all of a sudden they've looked a different team. I think Daniel Farke obviously has to get a lot of credit. And like you said, I think what they've done really well is with some of their acquisitions this season. Like you said, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been absolutely fantastic for them. Brendan Aronson is their player, not a new signing, but really played well. You look at Noah Okafor, who also is coming in the summer. He's also proved a handful for them. I think I saw them against United, whether or not that was Ruben Amorim's United, but they played really well and probably should have won the game against United. I saw them at Anfield against Liverpool, and they did create chances, even though Liverpool dominated the game, and they did get a point at Anfield. So it just tells you that they not only can grind it out against some of the lesser teams in the Premier League, they also can do it against some of the big boys. You can go to Anfield and get a point. That's a really good point for Leeds. I just have my doubts about how they'll go up against this Arsenal team. Yes, Arsenal played in midweek, but I can assure you, 3/4 of that Arsenal team are not going to be out there for the game against Leeds at Elland Road in the Premier League. So Arsenal, I think the squad depth will probably come to bear. There's lots of talk about the creativity. I saw Havertz taking off after 45 minutes against Kairat. Could that spell that he might maybe play a part in the game at the weekend? He looked like he linked up really well with Victor Gyökeres there. And the big question last week in the United game was whether he'd start Gyökeres. He started Gabby Jesus instead. So that's another huge question for Arsenal. Now they've got 3 fit strikers. Who are they going to start, especially in the game away against Leeds? Is it going to be Jesus? Is it going to be Gyökeres? Is he going to put Havertz in the hole like he did in the Champions League, playing directly behind Gyökeres? There's a lot of permutations that have to work for Arsenal. Like Arteta says, they have to let that pressure affect them in a positive way. They've got to enjoy it. And lately, you kind of feel like they've been sleepwalking through matches and they've not been particularly enjoying themselves, apart from maybe the matches in Europe. I feel it's going to be difficult. I feel it's going to be really hard. But I think this is one of those games where some of Arsenal's top players could come to the fore. You look at Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka, they have to come big. Of course, big Gabby at the back from set plays. Leeds have their hands full. Arsenal are decent. Arsenal, it's no fluke that Arsenal top in the Premier League with 4 points. Leeds will try their best, but I think Arsenal will probably show the rest of the league this weekend why they're top.
So some important questions for Mikel Arteta to answer. An important question for you to answer, Tolu. With your betting cap on, which way is this one going?
I think because of Arsenal's recent form, there's a bit of value in an away win. I think there's been one tip that I've got horribly wrong in the last maybe 3 weeks, and it's been Arsenal to win to 0. I probably kick myself for this, but I think I'll go that again. I think Arsenal do a clean sheet, and I think it will come at Leeds. Leeds, for all that we say about them, the endeavour and everything, I feel if they go gung-ho like they like to do, they probably open up the spaces for Arsenal. It depends on how Daniel Farke looks at this one. Does he look at it as a free hit, or does he look at it as a game that Leeds can potentially get a point from? If he looks at it as a free hit, it could see a lot of goals. If he looks at it as a game where they could get a point, he could be a little pragmatic. But knowing Leeds, I don't think they'll be pragmatic. So I think Arsenal will win this one. I probably will go Arsenal to keep a clean sheet and win to 0.
Great shout as always, Tolu. Let's hope it gets over the line this week. Thanks for your time as always, and I'll speak to you next time.
Thank you very much, Dan.